Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Gamefromscratch, and today we have another chapter in what is probably the most uplifting and cool story that came out of the Unity Tire Fire. So first off, if you don't know what the Unity Tire Fire is about, I've covered this ad nauseum on the channel. There's a lot that I can catch you up on, but basically Unity got super greedy, tried to inflict some user fees that more or less would kill off Unity development completely, and a lot of Unity developers rightfully had a crisis of faith. And as a result of this, Relogic, who are the makers of Terraria, the game, one of the indie darlings out there, did a very, very cool thing. So I covered this yesterday, but we'll do a quick recap. It's not a really involved story anyways. They basically gave $100,000 outright. Here's a grant, have $100,000 to 2 open source projects. Plus they are granting $1,000 a month in perpetuity to both of those projects, basically as long as they keep doing cool stuff. And that is a very generous gift to 2 cornerstone game development projects in the open source world. At least one of those, I guess, would be Cornerstone. The other one you may not have heard of. So one of the companies they donated to was the Godot game engine. They recently launched their Godot Foundation, very well-known game engine at this point in time. But the other one that you may not have known about was FNA. Now FNA was built on built to port games from Microsoft's indie game development focused XNA. XNA was a brilliant project. It's so bad that they killed it off, but it's basically lived on through services such as FNA. So this is a way of porting your XNA developed games over to various different consoles, etc. And the thing is, it was actually a fork of another project. There's a project out there called MonoGame, and that is the original spiritual successor to the XNA project. And a lot of people were asking, why didn't they support that project, especially when FNA is actually a fork of MonoGame? Well, here's the thing. They're doing that. This is so cool. So basically, Relogic, you guys are just bang up great people. Here is the tweet they just put out. Relogic is very interested and supportive of this new direction for MonoGame team. I'll get to that in just a second. An open source project with so much potential. Our announcement earlier this week, we had many people asking us whether or not we would choose to support MonoGame. Bearing anything unforeseen, it is our intention to support MonoGame with the same level of donation that we provided to Godot and FNA earlier this week. By necessity, this donation will need to wait until the foundational setups they outlined in today's announcement. We hope that this will give the next era of this project a nice running start, and we look forward to seeing how it will evolve in time to come. So this is the announcement that it is in response to. Basically, earlier today, MonoGame announced that they were going to form their own foundation, sort of like the Godot Foundation that runs things. And this is an attempt to future-proof both technical and governance perspective. New era of open source project, we will see the creation of a non-profit foundation to which all rights and properties will be transferred to, and the aim of ensuring MonoGame remains open source and free for all and any scenario, including on consoles. The foundation will allow the adoption of a more sustainable model and will open MonoGame to be supported by more patrons. A new board will be created within the organization with the task to define which projects to undertake and how they may be funded transparently. We will discuss the roadmap at a later time, but we can already state that MonoGame's goal will be set with regard to the quality of developer onboarding for the framework, its stability and console support of the current version, and the start of a new iteration to further expand MonoGame's reach and capabilities. We will communicate the progress of this transition based on developments in the future announcement. So that was an announcement MonoGame made earlier this day, and then of course Terraria with this massive follow-up with it. So they're basically giving away $300,000 plus $3,000 a month to 3 open source foundations. If you're wondering exactly what a MonoGame is, then this is for C# developers. It's now on most major platforms out there. It is a fully open source project. It has been used to make tons and tons of shipped games, like you can see back here in the background. The number of the games that were actually created with MonoGame, if you've never heard of it, are going to shock you. Again, you've got things like Terraria. Well, Terraria was ported using FNA, but Streets of Rage, and it's amazing just how many people are still using these XNA tools later on. Again, each time one of these names comes up, it's a who's who of indie darlings. So it was a little shocking to me earlier on that they chose FNA over MonoGame, because MonoGame is such an important project. Now, the big thing that you might be asking at this point in time is, well, why MonoGame and FNA, and they've kind of got a different purpose. One is more about preservation, so it's to keep exactly like it was for XNA. So it will be the exact same thing on every platform and so on. Where MonoGame, they're adding new features, new functionality, new tools, etc., and basically evolving XNA. So they're kind of XNA, at this point, they're becoming kind of XNA++. So realistically, that is the news. Let me know if you're interested in a MonoGame video. I've done coverage of MonoGame in the past, but I could do a bit of a modern update, maybe show you like a little basics of actually creating a game using MonoGame. If you're interested in that, I love working with XNA. Little small thing actually, it was XNA that got me into video game tutorial development. I did a book about XNA about like 11 or 12 years ago, and that directly led to Game from Scratch because I enjoyed the process so much. So I owe a lot of my development, I guess you could say, to MonoGame and the indie industry in general. It's so many important games were made using MonoGame, and Relogic, man, another just bang up classic job, great support, and it's nice. This is the silver lining that is coming out of the tire fire that is Unity's licensing change. So let me know what you think of Relogic, how awesome they are, what this further donation to MonoGame means. Have you ever checked out MonoGame, and are you interested in seeing more coverage? That's it. I'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.